Survival is never a gift out here. It is a debt collected daily with no exceptions. There is no mercy written into sand that hasn't felt rain in years. One creature's thirst is always another creature's only advantage. In the far southwest of Africa lies the Namib, one of the harshest and oldest deserts ever measured. Its dunes running unbroken toward the cold edge of the Atlantic. At Sossusvlei, in its beating red heart, tallest dunes on the continent rise more than 300 m against the morning sky. No rain has touched some of this ground in years at a time. Water here was never a gift from above. It belongs only to whichever species is clever enough to find it somewhere else entirely. That somewhere else, for one creature, turns out to be the sky itself. Before sunrise, at the crest of a dune overlooking the Atlantic fog line, a darkling beetle barely the size of a thumbnail climbs to the highest point it can find, moving with a slow, deliberate patience that looks almost ceremonial against the scale of the dune beneath it. As the fog bank rolls in off the cold Benguela current, colliding with the warmer air trapped over the sand, the beetle tips its body forward, head down, rear end raised almost vertically into the incoming mist. A posture entomologist studying the region since the 1970s named fog basking. Fine droplets condense along the ridged surface of its wing case where a pattern of waxy, water-repelling channels runs between tiny water-attracting bumps roughly half a millimeter wide. An arrangement so precise it has since been mapped, magnified, and reproduced in laboratories thousands of kilometers away. Each droplet grows heavier until it rolls, unaided by any muscle at all, straight down a channel and toward the beetle's own waiting mouth. Passive delivery system that costs the insect nothing but the discipline of standing still. Field research out of the Gobabeb Research Station, roughly 100 kilometers inland from the coast, has recorded fogging events on close to 180 mornings a year. And a single session can deliver a beetle nearly 40% of its own body weight in water, harvested from air that never once fell as rain and never touched the ground anywhere nearby. This same shell structure, first analyzed in detail by material scientist Andrew Parker in the early 2000s, has since inspired real fog harvesting nets now tested in water-scarce regions from Chile to Morocco. Engineers borrowing a design, a beetle finished perfecting millions of years before the first human settlement existed anywhere on this coastline. No burrow, no reservoir, no competition for the privilege. Since almost nothing else on this dune has bothered attempting the same trick. Just the correct angle, held perfectly still. For the one narrow hour each morning, this desert briefly stops behaving like a desert at all. Just a few dunes away, something else has decided the ground itself needs rewriting rather than the sky above it. Namibia's sidewinding adder crosses open sand using a rolling, sideways gait, only 2 or 3 points of its body ever touching down at once. Looping across the slope in a motion that looks from above, almost like a moving script written directly into the dune. Each J-shaped track angled consistently across the slope rather than running straight up or down it. It needs that trick because surface sand here can climb past 60 degrees Celsius by midday, hot enough to damage exposed tissue within moments of sustained contact. Temperature most terrestrial reptiles simply cannot tolerate against bare skin for more than a few seconds at a time. A snake that moved the conventional way, its full length pressed continuously against the surface, would be cooking as it traveled. Sidewinding solves that arithmetic directly, distributing contact across brief, alternating points rather than one long, unbroken line. Between hunts, the adder disappears with a few quick shimmies beneath the top layer of sand, leaving only its eyes exposed at the surface. Ambush and heat escape solved by the exact same motion. A single behavior doing double duty in an environment that rarely offers second solutions for free. Herpetologists working these dunes have described the burial as almost instantaneous. The snake vanishing within a second or two of deciding to. Pale coloring, faintly blotched to match the dune surface precisely, renders a buried adder essentially invisible from more than a meter away. Even to a careful observer looking directly at the ground, it's hiding beneath, waiting for a gecko or a lizard to wander within striking range. Venom delivered through short, efficient fangs finishes what patience started. And unlike the fog beetle's daily ritual a few dunes back, this predator's entire day can pass in near total stillness, waiting for one mistake from something smaller. Beneath both the beetle's morning ritual and the adder's shallow grave, in a layer of sand neither of them ever reaches, something has abandoned eyesight altogether. The Namib golden mole, studied for decades by Cape Town zoologist Gary Bronner, spends nearly its entire life a few centimeters under the surface. Its eyes reduced to useless vestiges, sealed permanently beneath skin and fur. An adaptation shaped by generations spent in total darkness, where vision simply stopped paying for itself. What replaces sight is an extraordinary sensitivity to vibration. Fine enough, Bronner's field recordings suggest to register a termite's footsteps moving through sand several centimeters away. the mole's entire skull functioning less like an eye socket and more like a tuned listening chamber pressed constantly against the ground. Rather than digging a fixed tunnel, the mole essentially swims. A shovel-shaped snout and powerful forelimbs parting grains ahead of its body, while sand collapses seamlessly back in behind it, leaving no visible trace on the surface at all. No mound, no hole, no evidence a predator above could ever learn to read. Bronner's long-term surveys describe individuals covering surprising distances underground in a single night. Hunting entirely by feel through a medium most mammals would find suffocating, it never drinks. Every drop of moisture it needs comes from the body fluids of the insects it catches underground. Closed water system that removes it entirely from the fog economy. The beetle depends on just a few meters above its tunnel. But that same specialization carries an absolute cost. A golden mole flushed onto the open surface, even briefly, becomes almost defenseless, disoriented and slow in a world its entire body was built to swim beneath rather than walk across. And the owls that patrol these dunes after dark have learned exactly what that rare, brief vulnerability looks like from above. A silhouette stranded on open sand with nowhere fast enough to disappear to. Follow the dune line far enough past the sand, and it eventually gives way to gravel plain. And here, something covers more ground in a single night than most predators manage in a week. Ingrid Wiesel, who has run the brown hyena research project along Namibia's skeleton coast for more than 2 decades, has tracked individual hyenas walking upward of 50 kilometers between dusk and dawn. A shaggy, solitary scavenger easily mistaken at a glance for something far more dangerous than it actually is. Long-legged, long-haired, built more for endurance than for any single burst of speed. It moves with a low-slung, unhurried gait that can nonetheless carry it across an entire night's worth of empty gravel without pause. Unlike its spotted relative, the brown hyena avoids confrontation almost entirely, retreating rather than contesting ground even against animals it could likely overpower. And its real advantage lies in the coastline itself rather than in any capacity for a fight. Wiesel's long-term data shows that stranded seal and whale carcasses washing ashore along the skeleton coast, the same stretch of Atlantic shoreline that gives this region its name, a name earned from the whale bones and shipwrecks once scattered across it, can sustain a hyena for days at a time, a renewable food source that inland scavengers competing over scraps of small mammal and insect never get access to at all. Individual home ranges tracked in Wiesel's studies can stretch across several hundred square kilometers of near-empty terrain. A spatial solution to a landscape where any single patch of ground rarely holds enough calories on its own to justify staying put. Clans here remain smaller and looser, than the tightly bonded spotted hyena groups found elsewhere in Africa. Patience and distance substituting almost entirely for numbers or aggression. And further inland still, along the dry beds of the Namib and Ugab rivers, the largest animal in this story survives on something no muscle can provide. Namibia's desert-adapted elephants, the same species as their savanna relatives elsewhere in Africa, have developed broader, flatter feet that distribute weight far more effectively across loose sand, and a leaner overall frame that carries less bulk to cool and less mass to feed on a landscape, offering far less vegetation per square kilometer than any grassland further east. They can go 3 to 4 days without drinking, roughly double what a savanna elephant typically manages before needing water again. An adaptation that turns an otherwise impossible crossing into something merely dangerous rather than fatal. Researcher Dr. Keith Leggett, who spent years tracking desert elephant movement along these dry riverbeds, documented matriarchs leading herds directly to water sources buried meters beneath dry sand. Locations with no surface indication at all, no green line of vegetation, no depression in the ground, guided by nothing but memory carried forward from a drought decades earlier. Younger elephants walk these same routes repeatedly across their own lifetimes, absorbing a map they will one day need to lead with themselves. A wrong turn during the driest stretch of the year can mean a herd doesn't survive the crossing at all. There is no backup water source scattered conveniently nearby, the way there might be on richer ground further inland. In the Namib, the memory has to be exactly right every single time it's called upon, because the desert offers no partial credit for a route remembered almost correctly. 5 completely different bets against the same relentless desert. The fog beetle chose the sky and a single posture held at dawn. The sidewinding adder rewrote how its own body touches the ground beneath it. The golden mole chose blindness and vibration, claiming an entire uncontested layer beneath the dune. The brown hyena chose distance, 50 kilometers of patient walking each night along a coastline most predators never reach. The desert elephant chose memory, one matriarch's mind standing between an entire herd and a mistake, with no possible second chance. No rain fell on any of them to make any of this possible. Only precision and the refusal to solve this landscape the same way as the neighbor sharing the very next dune. But precision without rain is not only a strategy for the large and the mobile. Crouch low enough at the base of any one of these dunes, and the same lesson repeats itself in miniature. In a single family that never had to leave this stretch of sand to find 5 different answers to it. Surface temperatures here can exceed 70 degrees Celsius at midday. Hot enough, researchers at Gobabeb have noted, to cook an egg on contact within minutes. hot enough that a human hand pressed flat against the sand would blister before a minute passed. And yet on any given afternoon, several lizard species occupy this exact patch of dune at once. None of them competing directly for the same square meter at the same hour of the day. Same basic blueprint. 4 legs, a tail, a taste for insects, and radically different answers to the exact same furnace. Watch the sand near the base of a slip face, and the first of them gives itself away almost immediately. A small pale shape lifting one foot and then the next in a motion too rapid and too rhythmic to look accidental. The shovel-snouted lizard, Merolles anchietae, performs what researchers at the Desert Research Foundation of Namibia nicknamed the thermal dance decades ago, never letting any single foot rest against the superheated surface for more than a fraction of a second at a time. Cycling through all 4 limbs in a pattern that, filmed and slowed down, looks almost choreographed. Body temperature readings taken in the field show this species foraging in surface conditions that would leave many other reptiles fatally overheated within minutes of exposure. When even the dance isn't enough, usually during the punishing hours around midday when the sun sits directly overhead with almost no shadow anywhere on the slope. A flattened, wedge-shaped snout
beneath
lets
the
the lizard
unforgiving
dive
sun,
headfirst into
life
loose
finds a
sand
way.
almost instantly.
To survive the scorching Namibian sun, the
granular
lizard performs a
surface
rapid
closing
thermal
seamlessly
dive, disappearing
over its
into the
body.
sand where temperatures are significantly lower.
Submerging into a cooler layer just centimeters below a surface capable of injuring exposed skin within seconds of direct contact. The same dive doubles as an escape from predators, a snake, a bird. Even the sidewinding adder covered a few minutes ago in this same story. The identical motion solving heat and danger with a single practiced reflex refined across countless generations on exactly this stretch of dune. Once night falls and that same sand finally begins to release its stored heat, a different resident of this dune emerges to claim what daylight made unbearable just hours earlier. The Namib web-footed gecko, Pachydaktylus rangae, carries distinctive webbing between its toes, translucent skin stretched taut across each foot, functioning almost exactly like a snowshoe on loose, wind-shifted sand where an unwebbed foot would sink with every single step and cost precious energy on every stride across a dune slope. Its eyes, proportionally massive against the rest of its skull, larger relative to body size than almost any other gecko species recorded, gather enough moonlight and starlight to hunt effectively in near total darkness, tracking beetles and small invertebrates using little more than ambient night sky illumination. Its pale, nearly translucent skin serves a second purpose beyond camouflage, minimizing water loss through a semi-permeable surface in one of the driest environments. biologists have ever measured anywhere on the planet. Trait that would be a liability in daylight, but costs nothing once the sun has gone down. Where the shovel-snouted lizard fights the heat directly through constant motion, this gecko avoids the confrontation altogether simply by timing its entire life around the hours when the sun isn't a factor at all. An entire existence scheduled around 12 hours, the dune spends becoming survivable again. A short distance away, motionless against pale sand under harsh midday light, a third strategy hides in plain sight rather than avoiding daylight entirely the way its nocturnal relative does. This lizard's tail carries an unusual translucent quality, skin thin enough in places to let light pass directly through rather than simply reflect the color of the sand beneath it. Scattering and diffusing light in a way that breaks up its outline far more effectively than solid coloration alone could ever manage against a background this uniformly pale. A hawk or shrike scanning the dune from above relies heavily on detecting sharp contrast and clean edges. And a body that partially disperses light rather than blocking it outright simply fails to register as strongly against that search pattern. Kind of camouflage built from physics rather than pigment. Stillness does almost all of the remaining work. Where the shovel-snouted lizard survives through constant footfall and the web-footed gecko survives through darkness, this one survives through the opposite extreme entirely. Near total stillness sustained for extended stretches. Since movement, far more than color or shape, is what most reliably gives a hidden animal away to a hunting eye scanning open ground from above. Thinner, less pigmented skin likely serves a second function as well, helping regulate body temperature more efficiently than the thicker scales carried by many of its relatives. Solving camouflage and heat management with the same physical trait rather than needing two separate solutions. Climb the granite outcrops rising abruptly out of the surrounding sand sea, though an entirely different lizard has opted out of the dune competition altogether. The Namib rock agama, Agama planiceps, lives almost exclusively on exposed stone. Males flashing a startling blue and orange territorial display during the breeding season that would be a liability anywhere on open sand, but reads clearly enough against bare gray granite from several meters away. Dominant males hold the highest, most exposed basking positions atop a given outcrop. Subordinate individuals push toward shadier ledges nearby. A visible hierarchy playing out across a single rock face each morning as the sun climbs higher. Rock absorbs and releases heat far more gradually than loose sand ever does, smoothing out the extreme swings between scorching noon and freezing desert night. And shaded crevices wedged between boulders offer genuine thermal refuge. a retreat available within seconds. No dance, no dive, no careful stillness required at all. This single habitat choice removes the agama almost entirely from competition with every other lizard covered so far. An entire separate microhabitat, insects, sun-warmed stone. Shelter from aerial predators, claimed simply by choosing stone over sand. Where the sand-dwelling species below spend their days managing an unstable, shifting surface. The agama's world stays fixed in place season after season. The same crevice, the same basking rock, inherited and defended across generations. And below all of them, deep enough that midday heat capable of injuring skin on contact never reaches it at all. The largest gecko in this desert has built something none of the others ever bothered constructing, a permanent address. The Namib giant ground gecko, Chondrodactylus angulifer, digs a genuine burrow rather than relying on a momentary dive. Reused night after night rather than abandoned the moment danger passes. A structure that can persist across an entire dry season while the sand around it shifts and reshapes itself in the wind above. It emerges only once the sand above has fully released its stored daytime heat. And its considerably larger size, easily the biggest gecko species found on these dunes, lets it tackle correspondingly larger prey than its smaller relatives manage on this same stretch of sand, including insects and occasionally other small reptiles it would have no chance of overpowering as a hatchling. Unlike almost every quieter species covered so far in this chapter, it communicates through audible clicking and chirping sounds. Used in territorial disputes and mate attraction that researchers working after dark have recorded repeatedly across multiple seasons of fieldwork on these dunes. This is the most complete heat avoidance strategy of any lizard in this entire family. Not a dance, not a dive, not translucent skin, not a retreat to stone, but total architectural separation from the sun itself, an entire life built to unfold exclusively within the hours. The desert briefly stops trying to kill anything exposed to it. One family, 5 completely different answers to the same 70 degrees Celsius sand. The dancer, the night-eyed swimmer of loose sand, the translucent statue standing still in daylight, the rock-dwelling escapee, and the burrow architect who left the surface behind almost entirely, all tracing back to a single shared ancestor. And not one of them would survive a single day trying to live the way another one does. None of these 10 specialists, the fog-drinking beetle, the sidewinding adder, the blind golden mole, the marathon-walking hyena, the memory-driven elephant, and 5 lizards who solved the same furnace 5 completely different ways. Ever accounted for the one force now reshaping this desert faster than any drought in its entire geological record. The fog beetle sits at the base of an entire food web most visitors never notice. Sustaining geckos, spiders, and small mammals across these dunes that depend directly or indirectly on an insect that learned to drink air itself. The golden mole keeps insect populations in check beneath a surface most predators never think to search. Along the Skeleton Coast, Wiesel's long-term data credits brown hyenas with clearing carrion that would otherwise linger and spread disease down an entire stretch of shoreline. Desert elephants dig into dry riverbeds during the worst droughts. And the wells they excavate become water sources for dozens of smaller species that never had to dig one themselves. And the 5 lizards from a moment ago form a critical mid-layer of this same system. Insect control on one end, prey for birds and snakes on the other. Holding together a micro-ecosystem across ground most people walking past would assume is simply empty sand. Even a desert this harsh runs on a network as tightly interlinked as any rainforest. And that network is now under measurable, documented strain. Diamond mining along sections of the Namib coastline has physically altered stretches of shoreline habitat the brown hyena relies on for stranded carcasses. Leggett's research has documented rising conflict between desert elephants and farmers, competing for the same scarce water points near expanding settlements. Conflicts that frequently end with an elephant killed, along with whatever decades of memorized water routes it carried and could never pass on. Long-term monitoring out of Gobabeb suggests shifting climate patterns may already be altering the frequency of the coastal fog. This entire ecosystem's base food chain depends on a change with consequences stretching from a single beetle on a dune crest all the way up to every animal that eats the animals that eat it. And tourist off-road vehicles, drawn here by the same dramatic dunes that make this desert famous, compress and destroy fragile surface crusts that can take centuries to reform, crusts that stabilize loose sand and shelter the very insects this entire food chain begins with. None of this makes international headlines the way a burning rainforest does. Quietly disappearing fog bank rarely trends, but there is real, measurable ground for hope here too. Namibia's Community Conservancy model, widely regarded as one of the most successful community-led conservation programs anywhere on the continent, gives local communities direct financial stakes in wildlife survival. And desert elephant numbers have shown measurable recovery in conservancy-managed areas as a direct result. Strict protected status around Sossusvlei and the Skeleton Coast limits the most destructive forms of development along the most sensitive stretches of dune and shoreline still remaining. and the fog beetle's water harvesting shell, first properly understood through Andrew Parker's research 2 decades ago, has already inspired real atmospheric water harvesting technology. Engineers studying a beetle's wing case to design systems that could one day bring drinking water to arid regions inhabited by people rather than insects. For tens of millions of years, the harshest desert on the continent sustained a network balanced down to the last drop of fog. Remove any single link. The beetle, the mole, the hyena, the elephant's memory, and the rest of the chain doesn't fail instantly, but it does begin to fail faster here than almost anywhere else on the planet. Because there was never any surplus margin built into a system this extreme to begin with. Most people assume a desert is a place with nothing left to lose. The truth runs in the opposite direction entirely. This may be one of the most fragile ecosystems on Earth, precisely because it was never built with room for a single mistake. And the greatest unknown variable in its 10 million year balance sheet is, for the first time in its entire history, us.